Hey everybody, and welcome back to the shop one more time. This time from T-Rex Racing, I'm installing the front axle slider on my 2020 Yamaha FJR. As usual, just a couple of disclaimers for you. Number one, I'm not a mechanic, so if I do something wrong or make a mistake, hey, it's gonna happen, okay? If you have service that you need, you're welcome to ask me questions, but I am not a certified mechanic. So if you have those type of technical things, go talk to those guys. Number two, I'm not endorsed by any of the tools you see around me or in my shop. Also not endorsed by T-Rex Racing. I bought these axle sliders as part of the full set for the 2020 Yamaha FJR. As always, you can like it, you can subscribe if you want to see more videos from my channel, but let's get down to the shop and let's install these sliders. Okay, to install the front bar ends on the 2020 FJR, these are from T-Rex Racing again. We have the two bar ends. This is the full assembly that they ship you. It's all put together, but I've already taken it apart. So the two nut bolts that go in each side, this is your replacement axle nut. Here's the two ends that you're actually going to use and the tube for through the axle. Also, to work on this and do the front, you're going to need a 22 millimeter socket. This is going to be to take the axle nut off of the Yamaha FJR. You're also going to need a torque wrench, which I don't have pictured here, but you need a torque wrench so we can torque that back to specs when we put the new one on. You're going to need a 6 millimeter Allen wrench. This is to go in the end of these nuts. And then you're going to need some long bar that'll fit through the axle to knock the plastic plug out that's on the other side. So I'm using what you see here. It's just a punch for hinges and a screwdriver combined because I didn't have anything long enough. And then we'll use this very light mallet, and I'm going to use the magnet to retrieve the punch out the other end. So that's what I've got for my tools. So with that, let's get to it. These bar ends should go on pretty quickly. Okay, so the first step on the 2020 FJR, and this is what confused me. If you're new to working on the motorcycle, let me reassure you, this video is being shot a week later than the other three videos or two videos. And that's because I wasn't sure how to do this without removing the axle. I was very worried that I was gonna actually drop or unalign the front tire in some way. It doesn't do that. I've already loosened the bolt to be sure. I didn't want it to be on camera if I had some foul language in case things happened that were beyond my control. So what I did, and I'll show you, but as I said, it's already been loosened. The 22 millimeter socket, we put this on the axle nut, then very carefully get yourself some leverage and push it to release the nut. It's gonna be fairly tight. It took a little bit of a pop, but I did get the axle nut released. Once you see it's loosened up, a couple things I noticed right away. First off, there is no Loctite on that bolt, okay? So I am not going to put Loctite on the new one either. I would have thought maybe they'd put some Loctite being the axle, but there is no Loctite, so I'm gonna do the same thing and not put any Loctite. The other thing is the replacement axle nut from T-Rex Racing, the hole through the center so that there's very little play is just the size of the bolt they gave you, just barely. So it just fits in there. Now, I didn't have anything that small to punch out the plastic plug on the other side. So that means I've got to remove the plug first, okay? In their directions, it says replace that nut right away. I'm gonna remove the plug first. So as I explained in the parts and tools needed, here's what we're gonna do. Is we're gonna take the punch, we're gonna slide that carefully up into the axle nut. Then I'm gonna use my screwdriver, which, as I said, did not fit all the way. Now we are against that rubber plug on the far side. And I'm gonna move the camera around so you can see what I'm talking about gets knocked out. And then while the camera's on the other side, I'll show you, I'm just gonna hit with this light mallet and we'll take that plug out. So let me move the camera and then we'll take the plug out of the bike. So as you can see now, we're on the other side of the motorcycle with the camera. I'm still over here. I've got the screwdriver up against that punch that's on the far side, and I'm just gonna give it a tap. And as you can see, coming right here at the end is this little rubber plug, and it's gonna start to come out. There it goes. Come all the way. No, it didn't come all the way. Let's see what we've got. Okay, my apologies for the camera cut. I had to go do some research. So it takes a little more force than I thought it would because it is a little bit bigger of a plug. So I'm just gonna kind of show you the last step in it. I did have to hit a little harder than I was afraid So I did a little research just to make sure, but there's the plug. As you can see, it has a hole in the end. So didn't know that. My punch happened to fit right in that hole. Gave me a little bit of a headache, but we got it figured out. Here's the rubber plug. So now that's hollow all the way through. Let's go back to the other side. Okay, so back on the left side of the motorcycle now, we've got the axle nut out and the plug from the other side. We're gonna put the replacement axle nut now in. This is just gonna thread right into the hole. It fits perfectly. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take my socket wrench and we're just gonna tighten that up. It is a little bit snug because it's a new nut. Remember, no Loctite on this one. There was no Loctite on the factory bolt. It does not advise putting any Loctite on the factory service manual, which I found online for a 2016, and the bikes are the same. So I'm going ahead and doing it with no Loctite. So we're gonna put this all the way in. That's a nice long bolt. And I'm just gonna go snug right there. Then I'm gonna take the ratcheting wrench, put it away, grab my torque wrench. This is a little bit trickier of a number to find. The service manual for the 2016 did say 66 foot-pounds as well as numerous owners groups. So 66 foot-pounds is what I have set on the torque wrench. And this is a click type. Let me get repositioned here. I'm actually going to switch to the other side because I feel like I'm going to hit the body here. One to verify, and I come down and always do it again. There's two, so 66 foot-pounds. Okay, so on the left side, we've got the axle nut torqued on there, so I've done that already. Next step is to insert the threaded bar. This is the bar that comes from T-Rex Racing. We're gonna insert this in from the right side of the motorcycle. That way we can attach the pucks on both sides, okay? Back over to the left again. This one, it's real easy to sit in front of the motorcycle because you kind of do it back and forth. I'm gonna keep moving the camera so you can see though. So now we step back over to the left side of the motorcycle. Back over to the left side now, we're gonna start installing the pucks. These are pretty simple. It's the plastic puck from T-Rex Racing. You put the bolt through the center of it. One thing to note when you disassemble, keep these with the appropriate side. The longer one goes through the axle nut. So this is an 80 millimeter in length. The other side's only a 60. So we're gonna put that through, put the puck on there. I'm actually gonna put my finger in from the other side just so I catch the threads a little bit sooner and can get that wound down. Grab our Allen wrench here. That one's just snug. We'll deal with the full tight here in just a second. And we're gonna do the same thing on the right side. Okay, we're almost done, I promise. Back over to the right side of the motorcycle, the same as before. You've got the plastic pucks from T-Rex. This has the one with the loose bearing inside it, so that's gonna go inside the axle. The bolt goes right on through. We're gonna put our Allen wrench there. Now, it does help if you have another Allen wrench of the same size. You're gonna need it in a minute anyway, but to hold the other bolt just keeps the bar from spinning while you tighten things down. Now, once you've got them both snug, T-Rex says on their instructions, you wanna torque these roughly to 12 foot-pounds. Now, when I say roughly, or when they say about, I guess it is 12 foot-pounds, basically, that's just finger tight. What you think about is these are both threaded into that rod. It has nothing to do with the axle, so it's not safety related. So if you really want to, you could get the torque wrench and put an Allen key on it. But if you just basically hold one side or use a good size lever and then just torque until you are nice and snug, 12 foot-pounds is really what most people can just do with their hand. It's nothing significant. You don't have to put any weight on it or anything. If you're familiar with how torque wrenches work, once I'm tight with my hands on a standard length Allen wrench, I'm done. That's it. So there's the two Allen wrenches I use to give you an idea. All right, and that's it. Now both sides of our T-Rex Racing front axle sliders are on. There, of course, you see the right side. It has the ability to spin if need be, and actually I think I may have tightened it a little bit much, but it's there. And we'll adjust that as necessary. So that's it. That completes the front axle sliders from T-Rex Racing. Well, thanks for joining me for this portion of our guard installs. I've got everything from the rear luggage to the front engine and the front axle slider, all from T-Rex Racing to install. So if this is the first or second video you've seen, be sure you check my channel for the other ones. If you're seeing all three of them, thank you very much for watching. Again, if you'd like to like and subscribe to my channel, I appreciate it. But Just one more reiteration. Number one, not a professional mechanic, just a dad of three, okay? Don't hold me to all the things. I make mistakes, it happens. I'd love to talk with you in the comments if you see something I did wrong. I'm always learning. Number two, not endorsed by any of the tools or pictures or whatever you see around the shop. So just want to make that clear. I bought these from T-Rex Racing. You can do the same, and I highly recommend it. Overall, those guys are phenomenal. I got to tell you, I've had to deal with them for customer service a couple times because I had questions. Piece of cake. Email me back right away. Also, before I ordered, I had inquiries and questions about whether it would fit the 2020. They answered those right away and confirmed for me if they didn't, I could ship them back to them. So overall, awesome, awesome. Highly recommend this company, T-Rex Racing, if you need sliders for your FJR. Okay? Have a great one, guys. Remember, all the gear, all the time. Keep the tires down and keep the blue skies up. Have a safe ride. We'll see you next time.